But what if I told you billionaires aren't just better negotiators because they have money, but because they're using psychological tactics most people have never heard of? So today, I'm breaking down the exact psychological negotiation strategies used by the world's elite negotiators, condensed into just 12 minutes. But why should you care about negotiation skills? So, the average person loses over $500,000 in their lifetime from poor negotiation on salaries, major purchases, and business deals. Then think about this. What separates the ultra-successful from everyone else isn't just their ideas, it's their ability to get what they want from every interaction. And these are the exact techniques that were used to close seven-figure deals. But how do billionaires instantly gain the upper hand in any negotiation before the real discussion even begins? They use what psychologists call anchoring, and it's perhaps the most powerful cognitive bias in negotiation. The anchoring effect occurs when the first number mentioned serves as a psychological reference point that influences the entire negotiation. Your brain becomes anchored to this initial number and everything else is judged in relation to it. So let's say you're negotiating for a $10,000 project. In scenario A, you start by saying, my fee is $15,000, but I could potentially work within your budget. In scenario B, you ask, what's your budget for this project? And they say $8,000. In the first scenario, $15,000 becomes the anchor. Even though you know they want to pay $10,000, starting at $15,000 means you'll likely settle closer to $12,000 to $13,000. In the second scenario, $8,000 becomes the anchor, and you'll struggle to get much above $9,000. But wait, how exactly do billionaires use this? So, they almost always make the first offer when they have sufficient information, and they make it ambitious but justifiable. They don't just pick random high numbers, they back their anchors with compelling rationales. Then, to make anchoring even more effective, they use what's called precision anchoring, and instead of saying $10,000, they'll say $10,450, because specific numbers appear more thoroughly considered and are harder to negotiate against. So next time you negotiate, remember, set the anchor first, make it ambitious, make it precise, and always have a rationale ready to justify it. But if anchoring is so powerful, why do so many people still fail at negotiations even when they set the first number? So this is where billionaires separate themselves from amateur negotiators. And they understand that negotiation isn't just about numbers, it's about psychology. Enter strategic empathy, the ability to genuinely understand the other party's position while maintaining focus on your objectives. Then researchers at Harvard Business School found that negotiators who demonstrated empathy secured deals that were 76% more favorable than those who didn't. But how can we do it? So, most people negotiate like this. That's not going to work for me. I need at least X, and billionaires negotiate like this. I understand that Y is important to you. But given that priority, how might we structure this so that I can also achieve X? So they use a technique called mirroring, which involves subtly repeating the last few words or key phrase that someone just said. For example, if they say, we can't go above $5,000 on this contract, you mirror back, you can't go above $5,000, then you stay silent. So this simple technique creates a psychological pressure for them to elaborate, often revealing flexibility or additional information. FBI hostage negotiators call this the magic of mirroring. But can these techniques be used together? So let me show you how to combine these techniques in real time. 1. Listen for their true objectives, not just their stated position. 2. Acknowledge their needs specifically. 3. Mirror key statements to encourage elaboration. 4. Propose solutions that address their core concerns while achieving yours. This approach requires something most negotiators never develop. But what's the simplest psychological tactic that separates billionaire negotiators from everyone else? It's their mastery of silence. So, studies show that the average person can only tolerate 8 seconds of silence in conversation before feeling compelled to speak. Then, trained negotiators extend this to 20 or more seconds, and elite negotiators The ones closing billion-dollar deals can comfortably use strategic silence for 30 to 40 seconds. But why is silence so powerful? So, it's because humans are programmed to fill conversational voids, often by offering concessions or additional information. But how does this work? So, when presented with an offer, most people immediately counter or accept. Instead, try this sequence. First, receive their offer. Second, maintain eye contact. Third, stay completely silent for at least 15 seconds, which will feel like an eternity. Fourth, respond with a thoughtful question, not a counteroffer. Then, when you do speak, use what negotiation experts call the late-night FM DJ voice. Slightly deeper, slower, and ending sentences on a downward inflection to project authority. But how do you develop this discipline? So, practice this three-step process. First, in your next 3 negotiations, commit to letting the other party fill all silences first. Second, count to 15 before responding to any significant offer. Third, record yourself in practice negotiations to catch your verbal habits. Then there's another level to this patience game. Billionaire negotiators understand strategic timing, and they know precisely when to pause a negotiation and when to accelerate. So Warren Buffett is famous for making offers with short deadlines after long periods of deliberation, creating artificial time pressure that leads to better terms. But how do billionaires structure their offers to make the other side feel like they're winning, even when they're not? They use the contrast principle, one of the most powerful psychological biases in human decision-making. So the contrast principle works like this. When 2 items are presented sequentially, we judge the second item in contrast to the first, not on its objective merits. Then here's how elite negotiators use this. First, they start with an ambitious decoy request they don't actually need. Second, they then concede on this point. And third, this makes their actual request seem much more reasonable by contrast. But can we use this for salary negotiations? So, let's say you're negotiating a job offer, and instead of just asking for a higher salary, you request a 25% higher salary, an extra week of vacation, a signing bonus, and remote work flexibility. Then you strategically concede on the vacation days and signing bonus, making it psychologically easier for them to say yes to your actual priorities. The salary and remote work. But how are billionaires using this? So, they take this to another level and plan their concession strategy in advance, using what negotiation experts call progressive concessions, where each concession gets smaller than the previous one. For example, first concession, I can reduce my fee by $3,000. Second concession, I could possibly come down another $1,500. Third concession, my absolute final offer is $500 less. This creates the psychological impression that you're reaching your absolute limit, even when you've built in substantial margin. Then they combine this with the reciprocity principle, the powerful psychological urge humans have to return favors. And by making concessions first, they trigger the other party's psychological need to reciprocate. So let's put these 4 psychological negotiation tactics together. First, the anchoring effect: set ambitious, precise first offers with solid rationales. Second, strategic empathy and mirroring: understand their position while subtly influencing through reflection. Third, calculated patience and strategic silence: master the power of saying nothing. And finally, the contrast principle and concession strategy: make the other side feel like they're winning. But aren't these skills developed for business deals? So there's one final truth about negotiation that billionaires understand. These skills are life skills that apply to every human interaction where interests need to be aligned. And when mastered, they don't just change how much money you make, they transform how people perceive and respond to you in every interaction. And here you have it. The negotiation skills that you could use in your daily life, as well as in business deals. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss the next interesting video. Drop a comment below with your biggest negotiation challenge, and I'll personally respond with tailored advice. Thanks for watching. Now go negotiate like a billionaire.